welcome to today's video. It is a 2024 garden recap. This summer flew by so quickly. I feel like I didn't get a good documentation of a lot of it, and we were so busy that I really feel like I didn't spend a lot of time down in the garden. It might be 60 degrees out, but I'm not going swimming. No, thank you. You're not sorry at all. Seeds were started in late February up in my grow room. Leave them. Come here. Come on. I did not have a great potting mix this year. I used leftover of what I had from last year, and it was actually more of a raised bed mix. But I didn't really have motivation, time, the budget, all the things to go out and get the proper soil that I should have. So I just used what I had this year. Most of my summer squash started off pretty well, but I ended up not being able to get any of it in the ground before it kind of died off outside. I did put it outside to harden it off, and it just got away from me. Again, it was so busy this summer. I know it's no excuse, but I'm really hoping for better next year. I have plans and thoughts, and we're gonna hope that now that things have settled down a little bit, that next year will be better. Wanted to get those started indoors a little earlier so I could hopefully give them enough time to fully mature outside. And then I have a few other things. This is a tray of flowers, but you can see I have had some very poor germination. These are all of my peppers, which are doing pretty well, all the tomatoes. And then this is what I'm working on right now. This is all broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and some herbs. And again, I've had really poor germination on all of this, so I just reseeded all of these. I'm going to give it a re-water, and hopefully that second seeding will prove to do me some good. My now husband and I got engaged in December of 2023, so 2024 was spent planning our wedding. We had expected to get married sometime 2025, but there were some health issues within our family, so we kind of fast-tracked the process and got married in June of this year, this summer. We did, however, lose my grandpa before the wedding, so he wasn't able to be there other than in spirit, but we were still going crazy with the garden things, all the wedding planning. Unfortunately, the funeral thrown in there, but we made it through. It's that time of year again. We are finally down in the garden, and I think it's safe to say we can get some seeds put in the ground. So we're gonna go through that right now. I decided that this year this potato tank should become a flower garden. So instead of doing any vegetables or anything like that in it, I am just going to scatter, as you've seen, a bunch of flower seeds, and I have some, not random, but some wildflower seeds from a baby shower I went to for Baby in Bloom. So there's a few different things I'm just going to throw in here, and hopefully this will be a really pretty cut garden this year, but we'll find out. And we're back at this raised bed, which I'm sure if any of you saw the videos last year, you'll be familiar with it. But we are going to get radishes and carrots planted out in here again. I will give a bit of a spoiler that our cattle tank cut garden did turn out amazing this summer. With all the busyness that was going on and some of the sadness, it was really nice to have that beautiful, beautiful bin of flowers out there, which you'll see in a little bit. Once again, we are going to try some watermelon radishes. I did not have luck with these last year, but I bought them again. Alright, on this side of the bed, I'll deal with that side, but this side we have watermelon radish, cherry bell, and rainbow. For the carrots, I am just gonna have a mixed bag. I dumped all the seeds in this container. There's only one variety that I know what it is because they're pelleted seeds. The rest of them, I have Bolero, Danvers half long, and then some mixed colors. So I'm just gonna make a carrot patch. My carrot patch was also quite a success this year. This was the first year I've ever been able to successfully grow carrots that are larger than a pencil. So that was a lot of fun to go out there and pick them and have our own little patch. I also found this cute little head of lettuce coming up that somehow survived through the winter or reseeded itself, whatever. But after that, radishes, carrots are planted. Next stop, we're going to the patio. The next project, which is still a work in progress, is getting our patio set up and getting all the things planted and weeded and whatnot out here. So one of the big things I wanted to do this year is I have a bunch of sunflower seeds, and I'm gonna try and line our, like that landscape border, the line, that with sunflowers. So hopefully if things grow well and it turns out like I imagine, it'll be a fence of sunflowers that will go around our patio, and I think it'll look really pretty. Newsflash, that sunflower idea did not go according to plan. We also had a lot of beautiful sunsets that I would look at in remembrance of Grandpa. We also had quite a few storms and a whole lot of flooding in our backyard. So we ended up having a tree down that ruined some stuff on the patio. But there were still some beautiful sunsets that would come after the storm. I mean, I loved, looking out in our backyard and seeing all of this. I have a better idea of things that I want to try growing without overwhelming myself by trying too much. So I have better plans for this upcoming garden season, one of which is also documenting better, because yes, it's great and all to look at pictures and whatnot, but it's also fun to come along for the ride and, see everything day to day. But I tried my best. I did put the majority of everything I tried growing out on our patio this summer just for easy access when it came to watering, and I totally expected to spend more time outside this summer, but again, it was just a very whirlwind summer, so I felt like I didn't enjoy our patio, enjoy the birds, the trees, the wind. I missed out on a lot of that this year for sure, but I had put it out on the patio to try and promote the space and use it more and enjoy our time out there. Down in the garden, I had some tomatoes up on the patio. The rest of them, the majority of them, were also down in the garden, so that was really the bulk of what was down there, aside from the flowers. And then I did have the raised bed, but once the carrots and radishes were done, that bed was done. It just stayed dormant for the rest of the season. So I wasn't lying when I said the flower tub turned out great. I didn't realize just how many pictures of flowers I took this summer. Although I'm not complaining. Again, it was beautiful to be able to see that outside when we would go outside with the dog, or even just, looking from inside. It was definitely an amazing way to put a smile on our faces. We had several vases of flowers that we would bring in that I was able to cut from that, and that was a winner for sure. most of everything that came up in there. There were a couple zinnias, but most of it was cosmos. So I don't know what those wildflower seeds were, but they really didn't do much. There is usually a drop right here that goes down about 3 or 4 feet before you hit the creek, and it's literally right at the brim, right at the top of it. And there's a bunch of trees that are marked that were, I'm assuming, dead, maybe needing to be cut down. One of which, right through here, had fallen down, but the water is so high you can't even tell. You could have walked from point A to point B, but can't even see it. A couple days later, and this is where we're at with the water level. And that tree I was talking about, you can see it now. But you can also see right up there. That's how high the water was. Because of all the flooding this year, the creek just didn't really seem as inviting or exciting to go swimming in for the dog. So we really didn't do a lot of that. And before we knew it, it was getting to be the end of September, and I was getting stuff kind of packed up and put away for the year. It went by so fast. I wish it would have been different, but we enjoyed what we could. And I'm looking forward to what next year has in store. There's a little patch right there. The black-eyed Susans have multiplied. They're all over here. There's some right over here. They're always right over here. This was a huge patch last year. They were super tall. You couldn't even see this thing. They covered it. This year they're pretty short and stumpy, but there's still quite a bit of foliage. There's something new right over here. I don't know if it's a sort of like anemone, because I planted a couple of those over here. There's one right there, and the other one is tucked back somewhere in there. But it is dying down. It's getting cold. A couple tomatoes to pick yet over there. There's still some down there. My cosmos are still going strong. I don't know if they'll survive much longer because some of the leaves are looking a little wilted and frostbitten because it did get pretty cold last night. I woke up to weather in the 40s this morning and my windshield was frosted over, but somehow, somewhere, there were some seeds that got planted. Yeah, like that's probably no good. But there were some seeds from last year of some gourds. Somehow made their way into this big old brush pile, which has completely taken over. It looks pretty cool. I'm hoping the plants can stick it out for just a little bit longer because these are not really even close to being ready. But we grew our own gourds. It's pretty cool. got the whole setup going here. I have jars warming in there. It does jar warming and pressure canning and water bath canning. I have never blanched a tomato before, but that's what's going on in here to the cold water bath so the skins fall right off. I'll get my lids boiling. We'll fill the jars, get them in the canner, and we'll have some diced tomatoes. You can actually see some of the tomatoes, they get blistered just a little bit, like right there. And then the skins just fall right off. These ones might not be ripe enough, so I might put those in their own separate jar. But look at that. All in all, this year we got married, we still had a garden, and we were able to reap some of the rewards. I canned tomatoes for the first time. We still had fun in the fall. We did some fun pumpkin carving, celebrated our fur baby's 6th birthday. I cannot believe it. And we took a little weekend trip for ourselves to kind of round out the year. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.